Hey everybody, this video is going to be different from the videos that the two of us usually make on this channel. We're going to be addressing the situation revolving around Vic Mignogna. We feel it's really important to talk about these things. You're probably already aware about the situation. This has been going on for a few weeks now, where a lot of accusations have come out revolving around him and his conduct. At this point, he's been fired from Funimation, Rooster Teeth, and he's been kicked from multiple convention appearances. And at this point, Vic's career is basically over. Before we get into the meat of this video, we do want to say that if you've been on our channel at all, you would know that consent is something that's really important to us. We've talked about it several times, and that was before any of this started, so we wouldn't have brought it up if we didn't feel like it was important. If at any time anybody ever felt uncomfortable or felt like a line was crossed, they do need to be able to feel free to talk about it, so that way these things don't happen again and we can work out any misunderstandings and we can work out any bad apples. But it also needs to be in a constructive way and not in this damaging witch hunt. We also want to say that we're going to be talking about several people in this video, and we ask that no one go harass anybody or send any sort of threats. They are not constructive and they just hurt the conversation even more. We also need to make it clear that we are fans of Vic Mignogna. We've met him at conventions and all of our experiences have been positive. We also recognize that our experiences aren't necessarily everyone else's experiences, and we have suffered through this before with people like Bill Cosby, but he was convicted in a court of law, and we feel like due process should always be the standard. Vic has already apologized multiple times to those he may have made feel uncomfortable, and as of the recording of this video, there hasn't been any solid evidence of any illegal activity outside of accusations. The two of us have been following the discourse online and the fallout from all of it, and there's just been so much toxicity, and so much of this was destructive in how it was handled that the fallout from this is probably going to be felt for quite a while. Every day, there's some new unacceptable nonsense. Whether it's conventions threatening to arrest people for defending Vic Mignogna and pulling press passes just for commenting on the situation, or whether it's voice actors insulting others for asking for due process, and even going as far as to wish sexual assault on a girl. And then when they get called out on it, they just backpedal and say they phrased it wrong. If you were really sorry, you would accept that what you did was wrong, and you would change your actions, but you don't. You don't regret what you said, and that's why we know that you're not genuine. These are the people that we're expected to side with. And as far as we know, Funimation has not taken action against people like Monica Rial or Jamie Marchi, who have made ridiculous claims and extremely vulgar and shocking statements. There has been such a loss of trust that came from this whole situation that there is no way that things can be the same moving forward. And a lot of people don't realize the actual effects of this entire thing, or how much harm this actually caused. Anime News Network released an article about Vic Mignogna where fans were alleging that they had uncomfortable experiences with him at conventions. We believe that if anyone ever feels uncomfortable or has a bad experience, they should be able to talk about it. But this article used images that they found online and used without consent, and it turned out later that those people did not agree with the article and didn't appreciate them using their images without consent or context because they actually had good experiences. This is extremely intolerable from Anime News Network. They just have a narrative to push and they aren't concerned with the actual facts. It's not fair to anyone regardless of which side people ended up on. From there, everything spiraled out of control, and there was no way that anything constructive can come from this because it already came from such a destructive place. People who were just reporting on the issue, whether they were neutral or just defending due process, were attacked by Anime News Network editors claiming that they were Nazis and tweeting at YouTube to get their videos flagged and taken down. So people started jumping on this, like Meepy Gal, who were trying to benefit from this situation. It's thanks to YouTuber Xlover NewmanPro for exposing her for the liar she is. In the video Meepy Gal posted on January 30th, she talks about how she interviewed Vic Mignogna back in 2013 while she was working with a company called the O Network. And she specifically wanted to talk about this so she could give context about Vic Mignogna and who he is as a person.
The reason I kind of want to sit down and talk about this is because I've had first-hand interaction with this dude, and I sort of want to put out what I've definitely observed in the con community, at least from like what I've seen, and to hopefully maybe give you some context, because this guy is a piece of shit, okay?
And then she decides to edit that context and lie right through her teeth. She says in the video that she had been warned prior to this interview that Vic was someone to avoid. And she says that she did that because the rumors sounded pretty awful.
I was told to avoid this guy, like that was one of the first things, and honestly, I had no problems with it because he sounded really sketchy, honestly. The way he supposedly hit on girls, the way he acted, he just didn't sound like a professional. So I never bothered. Didn't even bother. Like, we were the same con, just avoided.
Now, if Meepy heard some rumors that she believed were credible, it's totally fine for her to just avoid anyone that she feels is problematic, because there's no reason for her to go out of her way to try to interact with someone that she feels could be a problem. So it kind of raises a red flag when she then admits that she went out of her way to interact with him.
Notice that over at one of the autograph tables, Vic Mignogna was sitting over there finishing up an autograph session, and honestly my whole team and I just went, wouldn't it be funny to see if we could get an interview with him? And we honestly had no idea like what we were signing up for. We were just expecting him to just be weird. We were expecting that.
So if you're at a convention and you've been told to avoid someone because they're a problem, and you believe that, and you find yourself in the same area as that person, wouldn't you just leave that area to avoid possibly interacting with this person? I think that's what most people would do. But Meepy and her team, they decide it would be funny to go interview the guy that they all think is a problem and a weirdo. That just doesn't make any sense. So this was a spontaneous interview done by the O Network, where they approached him in bad faith, expecting to get some kind of evidence that they could pin on him, that if he did anything, it would be on camera.
In my thought and mind, I'm like, he's on camera. If he does anything whack, he's gonna get caught doing it. So it's all good. Let's do this.
While he thinks that this is just a normal interview, he had no idea what their intentions were. So there's two things going on here. One, the O Network already believes that he's a problem and he's a weirdo because of these rumors. And two, she's judging him because of the pants that he chose to wear to a convention.
When this dude walked up, he had lace-up pants. Like, the pants laced all the way up his legs. Like, I was, like, staring at the pants like, dude, you really wearing those? Because, yeah, you're really wearing those.
Which is pretty shallow, by the way. People can wear whatever they want. Convention goers get judged all the time because of what they choose to wear. Don't be a part of that. But the interview starts, and this is what she claims happened.
Dave and I start the interview, and he is straight up delirious. He looks like he just like hasn't slept for like 48 hours. He looks so delirious. I kind of get nervous.
Let's play it here. Hi, I'm Vic Mignogna. I'm here interviewing. What you want?
Christina.
He just starts getting like really close, and he grabs the mic out of my hand, and I'm like, the f***? Like, okay. And then he starts trying to interview me and Dave like back and forth.
In the con, so just like
Now, are you dating this guy over here?
And he'd ask questions like, oh, are you two dating? Or like just weird. And he'd just get like close to both of us, and we were just like, yep, we were right. This dude is weird.
So she makes it sound like he was delirious and he just immediately started getting close and grabbing the mic from her and her co-host and interviewing the two of them and asking inappropriate questions as if there was nothing that happened to lead up to that. There is no reason for her to not tell us that he just finished signing autographs after 5 hours straight.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Hi, we are with Vic Mignogna tonight.
No, we are with what's left of Vic Mignogna. Oh my gosh, what a great day at SoccerCon, you guys. The fans here are amazing. I just finished an autograph session and it was 5 hours long.
That is intense. Does your hand hurt from signing everything?
No, but I can't see very well right now.
Oh.
Is that a camera? There's a microphone. I mean, just so really strung out, but in a good way. in a really excited way to be here and to be spending the day doing this.
Yeah.
She does say that he's acting delirious and like he hasn't slept in 48 hours, but what is she implying by leaving out this information? The O Network's bias was leading this whole thing. Imagine if when they had asked for that unscheduled interview, Vic had said, you know what, I've been signing autographs for 5 hours, I'm exhausted, I really just need to go rest. I'm really sorry, I can't give you an interview. They would have been sitting here talking about how he's a huge jerk who hates people and hates them, but when he did do the interview, nothing of what he said mattered. Even the fact that he had been signing autographs for 5 hours, it didn't matter, because they're not listening. She completely left that part out during her retelling of this story in her We Need to Talk About Vic Mignogna video. This was clearly an unplanned interview because Meepy Gal is struggling to ask a question. She has to think of something to ask him, and her co-host isn't saying a word.
Yeah. Have any highlights so far?
The highlights are always the fans.
Always the fans.
No matter where I go, different cities are cities, and buildings are buildings, but at the end of the day, it's the people that you get to meet that make it special, and I've met some awesome people today.
They're both very stiff and awkward and have really poor camera presence. She's holding her microphone closely to her chest. Her co-host is holding his microphone out to him, but because he's not saying anything, Vic keeps looking at Meepy Gal since she's the one who's talking. But Meepy Gal isn't giving him eye contact. She seems to be looking off into the distance, or at the floor. This entire interview is very awkward. This whole interview, the only thing he's talked about, aside from being exhausted, is how wonderful the people he's met have been. The fans he's got to interact with, and how they're what's really special. More special than the places he's been to, and the buildings, and the cities. It's the people that are memorable. There are pretty long pauses between questions. So this is the part where he starts interviewing them. When he asks Meepy how her time has been, she's not even giving him eye contact.
And I've met some awesome people today. It's been a great time. How about you? Here, let's play it here.
So he's exhausted and loopy, they're awkward and stiff, and he's trying to lighten up the mood, especially considering the fact that they're totally disinterested. So he grabs the microphone and starts interviewing them to get them more invested in the interview.
Hi, I'm Vic Mignogna. I'm here interviewing, what's your name?
Christina.
I'm here interviewing Christina. She's here at SoccerCon. Christina, what have been the highlights of your day?
I think maybe
That's so interesting. Have you... No, really. How have you been finding SoccerCon?
it's been pretty great. I've been working the con, so just like you.
Now, are you dating this guy over here?
No.
Here, let's trade. How are you doing? How have you been enjoying the weekend?
I'm doing fine.
What's your name?
David.
David? What's your favorite color, David?
Red.
It's a good color. It's a good color. How come? You should be wearing red right now. I think so.
I have some red right here.
It's kind of a burgundy.
Okay.
I think it's red.
Oh, you do?
I think it's red.
Oh, it's a fight. Okay, anyway. I'm so glad you guys are here. Did you have a good weekend?
Yes, I have.
Well, this is one of the best conventions to come to. And if you guys have not been to this convention yet, you need to come to this convention now.
All right, thank you.
She then goes on to say that they all had a good laugh about it, at his expense, after an interview that was done in bad faith.
So honestly, that whole experience was like, we knew this guy was weird, and we knew he was going to be weird on camera, so we just did it. We just did it. We had a great laugh about it, so that was really nice.
Once she's finished with her lies, she starts talking about the other allegations against Vic, which includes anti-Semitism. She says that she's never witnessed him being anti-Semitic.
He also allegedly does have history of anti-Semitic behavior as well, although I've never witnessed it. All I've witnessed is just really erratic behavior, uncomfortable closeness, and just really weird conversational dialogue.
But the truth is, she's never witnessed anything from him. She already had her mind made up about him before they even got the idea to have this interview. Nothing was going to change that. And her using this interview to trick people into thinking that she knows his character is extremely immoral. It says a lot about her character. This interview was 5 years ago. How many people have they tried to sway with this story? And the entire time, Vic had no idea he was taken advantage of. People wanted her opinion on this situation because she used to be involved in conventions, so they believed that she was credible, and she took advantage of their trust. People were sharing her video because they wanted her voice to get more exposure. People were even praising her, claiming that she was doing the Lord's work, and she was encouraging this by favoriting all of these comments. She responded to this by saying, "If I can get even one person to change their mind, that would make me happy. Baby steps." She wants to change people's minds by lying to them. And people were claiming that she was doing the Lord's work not because she was working for a greater good or for a higher power, but because they liked her lies. They liked what she was saying because it fed into their already existing bias. The sad thing is they're warned about spreading lies and misinformation, but because Vic asked for help in dealing with all these lies, they shoot it down, saying that it's not about stopping lies, it's just about defending his honor. The sad thing is this is exactly what he's talking about. People who are disingenuous and don't care and just want to get rid of him. This is right out of the Salem witch trials. Never mind that if these allegations are true, it's really not enough to just kick him out of the industry. He would need to go to court, along with Neil Kaplan and Jamie Marchi, who have also been accused of sexual misconduct. It's the only way to get actual justice. But after Meepy was exposed, she made a response, and her response shows that she's learned nothing. Not only is she doubling down, but she's proud of what she's done, and tries to hide her lies by unlisting the video. Her first point says, "Y'all using my interview we did with him as a joke, as some kind of serious evidence is funny. I said to go read the serious allegations," completely ignoring the fact that she used her interview as a way to bolster these other allegations, claiming she knew his true character because of this interview she did with him. She keeps up her lies by pretending that her interview was always just a joke. That is not at all the way she presented it in the original video. That's why all those people were sharing the video and praising her, because they believed her. After all, why would she lie? Her next point is just her saying that this isn't the usual content that she makes on YouTube anyway. She's basically saying she's not going to respond to any of the backlash because the backlash is off topic. Basically what she's really saying is that she's not going to apologize for faking evidence. Her last point is the most egregious, where she says that since conventions and companies are taking this seriously, we've accomplished what needed to be done. Never mind that these are actually pretty serious accusations that would need to be investigated by a neutral third party. We know that there's rampant bias, so how can we trust these investigations? But according to Meepy Gal, it's case closed. Then she unlists the video so she can go back to her non-weeb related programming, pretending that she's still a hero and knowing that people are still going to stand by her just because they liked what she had to say. The only reason we can still get to her video is because we left a comment on it, but she has no problem hiding her lies from everyone. How brave of her. And the frustrating part is that what Meepy Gal did makes it so much harder for people who are actual victims of sexual harassment and assault to be taken seriously. All of these fake claims make it harder. How many more Meepy Gals were out there contributing to this toxicity? How many people pretended to be in good faith with Vic Mignogna just so they could wait for the right moment to use all of that against him? And how many of those people were his own colleagues? For example, Monica Rial. Prior to these allegations, if you look at her Twitter, she seems to be pretty close to Mignogna. They have multiple pictures together, and she even posted emoji kissy faces at him. This all seems like they're on pretty good terms. But then as soon as these accusations start, at first she says that she believes survivors, and then she claims that she is a survivor of his misconduct. But then when people ask her about this, she starts spamming this message that she's going to contact the authorities over harassment. She even says she's going to contact Homeland Security. She says that she's known him for 20 years and she was just taken in by his charm. But in 2015, she was asked what she would do if she lived in the World of Orin High School host club. And her response was she would harass Vic Mignogna. Well, she got to live that out in real life. At the time, this was probably seen as a cute little joke, but in light of recent events, it seems pretty suspicious. In his recent statement, he said, "To my colleagues, I have considered you good friends for so many years. We've shared countless wonderful experiences together, and I never meant to do anything to offend or hurt you. Until the last few weeks, I had no idea that any animosity even existed. I've never had anything but respect for you, and I so deeply regret any words or actions that made any one of you feel otherwise." No wonder he needs counseling when so many people stabbed him in the back. He asks for forgiveness, but does Meepy Gal and her pals ask for forgiveness? No. They keep acting like they're holier than thou, and there are moral superiors. The sad fact is, Funimation has really been going downhill for a while now. They don't care to take responsibility when it comes to their dubbing. Instead of being as careful as possible with their translations, they blatantly rewrite things to fit what they want. This is extremely offensive and disrespectful to the original. These properties are not theirs to do with what they see fit. The original companies are trusting them with the dub, and they are abusing that trust. And on top of that, Funimation does nothing when its employees are running rampant on Twitter and sowing more distrust, not to mention harassing the fans. Anime News Network kicked off this whole debacle when they ran that article in bad faith without doing proper research into these allegations and basically just pushing a narrative, and they didn't care who they dragged into it. They claim they're going to expose more voice actors, but they want to do it right and gather all the evidence. In other words, exactly the opposite of what they did to Vic. In the end, we can live with a guilty verdict if that's what's found in a court of law beyond a shadow of a doubt. But no matter what happens, trust between anime fans and Funimation, Anime News Network, Meepy Gal, and all her pals has been lost, and that's something that can never be repaired. Vic has apologized multiple times to anyone that he may have ever made to feel uncomfortable, and he didn't go on Twitter and kick up a huge storm like they did, and he didn't go on YouTube and falsify an interview. Yet people still insist on being judge, jury, and executioner, and that they've got it all figured out, and they laugh or harass anyone who tries to tell them that what they're doing is wrong, and that there are lies out there, like Amanda Wynn Lee, who wished sexual harassment onto a girl just because she supported due process, and when she got called out on it, just pretended she was the victim. She didn't mean any harm. She was just saying that when she does become a victim of sexual assault, she hopes that she sees things her way, and she never apologized for calling her a poor stupid girl. But that's what happens when you're morally superior. Suddenly, it's okay to use extremely vulgar language at supposed minors, considering the fact that they believe all of his fans are underage girls.
And I think another reason why I wanted to talk about this is because there are like girls on the internet that are defending him, which is just, you're probably like 15 and you think that your world revolves around him, but I'm really sorry, like you're gonna find a better guy eventually, but this guy is a creep and he doesn't deserve your attention or time or you worshiping him. Like, it's not worth it because of what he does to other girls.
We don't know what's gonna happen going forward. We're not gonna support them again. They weren't supporting us for who knows how long. There was so much toxicity, and they were hiding it behind their smiles. But we do know that the toxicity has to end, and the only way to do that is to reveal it for what it is. This isn't the kind of content we usually make, and it's not the kind of content we want to make. It's just that we didn't feel like we had a choice anymore. We do appreciate you listening to our video, and we stand by due process, so that means we stand with Vic, and we hope that justice wins in the end.